The story begins with two close friends, Jinguji and Tachibana, attending a group dating event which doesn't go well for Tachibana. In his drunken disappointment, Tachibana says that he would rather be a beautiful woman so that everyone would worship him, when suddenly a goddess appears and transports the both of them into a strange forest. Jinguji wakes up first and sees his friend transform into a girl in front of his very eyes. Shortly after, Tachibana also wakes up and, not realizing what has happened to him, questions why Jinguji is acting strange until Jinguji shows him a reflection of a gorgeous woman. Jinguji initially struggles to accept that his best friend has transformed into a girl until a goddess appears and explains the situation to the both of them. At this point, the goddess reveals that the two of them were transferred to this world as heroes to defeat the demon lord, and in the process of transferring them to the new world, the goddess had given them powers that they had desired. She also explains that they would be granted anything that they wish for if they defeated the demon lord. Jinguji initially thinks this is a scam, as he still cannot accept that his best friend has turned into a woman, and refuses to help the goddess, who in a rage casts a curse to force the both of them to confront the demon lord before disappearing. Tachibana begins to think about their next steps to survive in this new world when he catches Jinguji checking him out. It is then they realize that they are both attracted to each other and blame the curse the goddess casted on them earlier. Both Jinguji and Tachibana decide to defeat the demon lord before falling in love with each other, and so begins a romantic comedy between an old guy and a former old guy. The duo begins traveling through the forest, but Tachibana's stamina runs out very soon and they are forced to rest when Tachibana throws a tantrum. The two try to come to terms that Tachibana has transformed into an incredibly cute girl when suddenly a white furry monster appears and begins chasing them. While running away, Tachibana comments on how the monster looks kind of cute when suddenly its face opens up to reveal that this is not true. The monster begins shooting beams at the two heroes as they run away, and they soon fall off a small cliff where Jinguji decides to fight the monster. Tachibana tries to persuade Jinguji not to do this, but to both their surprise, Jinguji easily punches a hole through the monster and downs it. Jinguji admires his own strength, claiming that this was a result from his gym training, but Tachibana disagrees, believing that this might have been a power granted by the goddess. However, Jinguji insists that this is from his strength training, to which Tachibana points out that his physical abilities go well beyond what strength training should be able to achieve. The injured monster then launches a last-ditch energy beam at Tachibana, which Jinguji easily blocks. Experience points are granted to Jinguji for beating the monster, and they both begin to inspect their abilities. Tachibana questions why Jinguji's level is so high when he remains at level 1. Further inspection shows to Tachibana's dismay that his abilities are unparalleled beauty and troublemaker, to which Jinguji responds by saying this is what Tachibana had wished for before their reincarnation. Tachibana rages at the goddess, granting a wish he had made when he was so drunk that he didn't even remember he made it. At this point, they finally realize Tachibana turning into girl was the goddess's favor, and after recalling that they had spoken rudely to the goddess, Tachibana thinks they should apologize to the goddess, but Jinguji refuses as he's still salty about the goddess turning his best friend into a girl. However, Tachibana insists, to which Jinguji promptly agrees. Jinguji begins to wonder what his special skills are and tries casting Gates to Paradise, which summons a door leading to Tachibana's apartment. The two question the strangeness of this ability when Jinguji recalls himself wishing to help Tachibana back home when he was drunk and realizes the goddess must have granted him this power because of that. They then settle down for a meal when Tachibana points out to Jinguji's dismay that this is all the food he has in his apartment. Jinguji is unimpressed, but notes that there is still running water in the apartment and suggests that they eat the monster they had defeated earlier in case of emergency. Fully rested and with Tachibana now dressed in his sister's clothes, our duo set off towards a nearby village Jinguji had spotted earlier. The two prepare a fake backstory before they enter the village, and Tachibana enters first, fully intending to use his unparalleled beauty ability to collect information. But Jinguji soon realizes the village is being attacked by a group of bandits and chases after Tachibana. Tachibana almost immediately runs into a bandit, but is oblivious to this as the bandit immediately falls in love and proposes with a promise to change his ways and live an honest life. This scenario repeats itself as more bandits see Tachibana, and eventually the entire group of bandits break out into a brawl to marry Tachibana. By the time Jinguji arrives, we see the bandits have wiped each other out and Tachibana gets worshipped as the goddess by the villagers. The now captured bandits reveal that there are more bandits on the way, but refuse to tell Jinguji where their stronghold is. However, this is easily resolved by Tachibana's unparalleled beauty ability. Our heroes arrive at the bandit stronghold and Tachibana suggests charging in head-on, but Jinguji is much more conservative and asks Tachibana to stay behind. This is promptly shut down as Tachibana does not want Jinguji to go in alone. Jinguji admires Tachibana's selflessness and begins to fantasize about a marriage between the two of them. He soon realizes he has gone too far and headbutts a tree to clear his mind. This makes things worse as Tachibana becomes concerned and tries to stop Jinguji's bleeding. In a fluster, Jinguji throws Tachibana into the bandit stronghold where they are immediately attacked, but this poses no problem as Jinguji easily plants every bandit that attacks into the ground. Suddenly, villagers appear to help Tachibana, but Jinguji, in his obsession to protect Tachibana, gives him the same treatment as he did for the bandits. This confuses Tachibana until we notice a charm status appearing over Jinguji's head. Tachibana slaps the charm status off of Jinguji and gloats that Jinguji is lucky that it is his best friend holding his weakness. Jinguji thinks deeply about whether it is a good thing that his gender-switched best friend holds his only weakness, when a panicked Tachibana comes running back saying that they need to escape as the stronghold is now on fire and this is spreading. We are then introduced to the leader of an elf village who is preparing to meet her people in the morning. However, when the curtain in her room opens, it is revealed that besides her home, her entire village was caught in the fire and has been burnt to the ground. Back in the village, Jinguji is tanning the pelt of the monster he defeated earlier when the village chief reveals that this is in fact the pelt of a guardian deity. Jinguji becomes worried, but the village chief doesn't seem to mind as the pelt is not from his village's guardian deity anyway. Jinguji returns to Tachibana's apartment to wake him up, only to find him naked, fresh from a shower. After the initial shock, Jinguji later points out that Tachibana's attractiveness is beyond physical appearance and that there is a magical component that warps Tachibana's appearance to the preference of anyone looking at him. The duo plan to leave the village to gather more information on the demon lord, as no one in the village seems to have heard about the demon. But as they leave the apartment, they see the elf village leader berating the villagers for not only causing her entire forest to burn down, but also skinning the elf's guardian deity. She threatens to destroy the village if they do not hand over the people responsible. Jinguji comes out to confront the elf leader, arguing that the forest burning down was not their fault and that the death of the guardian deity was due to self-defense. The elf brushes this off as excuses and Jinguji becomes defensive as Tachibana tries to mediate between the two. The elf leader soon notices how beautiful Tachibana is and disrobes to show off her own beauty. She then demands Jinguji and Tachibana to kneel and beg for forgiveness while praising her beauty, to which Tachibana is fully prepared to do, but Jinguji refuses. The elf begins attacking the duo and hopes that after killing Tachibana she would reclaim the title of the most beautiful woman in the area. The elves chase Tachibana and Jinguji into the forest, where Jinguji counterattacks and cuts off a lock of the elf leader's hair. Our duo then makes their escape as the elf leader cries after realizing she has lost some of her hair, as this is supposed to be a symbol of her elvenhood. The elves then return to the village, where the elf leader leaves her subordinates to track down Jinguji and Tachibana. Meanwhile, our heroes continue their journey to the next village when Tachibana runs out of stamina again and throws another tantrum. The two decide to spend the night and Jinguji summons Tachibana's apartment to prepare dinner while Tachibana showers. The two enjoy dinner in the forest when Tachibana realizes the meat is from the elf's guardian deity. Tachibana hesitates for a moment before continuing with the meal, even complimenting the taste. Tachibana quickly gets drunk and undresses before running into the forest with Jinguji in tow. Jinguji finally catches up and sees that Tachibana is caught by a plant monster, but Tachibana is too drunk to realize that he has been caught in a trap and struggles to remove the vines. He asks Jinguji to help. However, Jinguji becomes charmed again and asks Tachibana to say something that will shock him out of his charm. After struggling for a little bit, Tachibana confesses that he hates green peppers, which disappoints Jinguji enough to break him out of the charm status and save Tachibana. Meanwhile, the elf leader finds the remnants of Jinguji and Tachibana's meal and begins to eat as she happens to be hungry. However, she doesn't realize that this is the meat of the very guardian deity that she is trying to avenge. While she's eating, the elf leader fails to notice a vine creeping out of the forest, which quickly pulls her in before she can react. And with that, we've covered episodes 1 to 3 of the anime. Thank you for watching until the end and have a great day.